Hello there, this is Critical from Critical Media, just taking a look at the 2022 Omnibus release of Dennis O'Neil and Dennis Cowan's The Question. This is a series from 1986, and what we usually do with this channel is give you an idea of what to expect if you ever come across this book in the wild. So we go over the exterior, some bonus material, art and plot points, and then a brief review at the end. Now, before jumping in, yes, a few videos ago during the Q&A, I did mention The Question is among my top 3 superheroes, and it's mainly to do because of this series, this incredible series. Sure, I understand anytime I bring up The Question, most people will reference like Justice League Unlimited, and listen, Jeffrey Combs and the writers of that show did an excellent job. Even I loved it. But the reality is, the question from the comics, or at least this run, is significantly different in all the better ways. So I guess without further ado, at least in terms of the tradition of this channel, yes, in terms of the exterior, we have this awesome cover here. It's a combination of Dennis Cowan and Bill Sienkiewicz. And I like how it keeps that same, of course, aesthetic as the original first issue. Even the trades kind of had that going as well. And in terms of the spine, we have this nice, very muted tone to it. I love it. I don't know what it is about it, but I feel like it'll look good on anyone's shelf. And of course, just on the exterior here, another one of the covers. I believe this is from Epitaph of a Hero. But yes, very on point there. But underneath the dust jacket, man, we get this super awesome Sienkiewicz-Cowan combination. It's from the early part of the series, but I believe they used it for one of the trades, actually the second volume. But man, I've always loved this particular cover, and I like how they went with the more comic-centric version of it. In terms of the spine, a little bit different this time. Lettered, #1, giving me hope. Hopefully there's going to be a volume 2. And a cover from more of the later series, so not bad there. It does collect about 27 issues plus a few annuals. To give you perspective, the trades, don't worry, I didn't pay an arm and a leg, I got these when they came out. To give you an idea, the trades, basically, the Omni covers up to here, volume 5, a little bit. So it just makes me wonder what's going to be maybe in the future here. But anywho, back to the book. In terms of bonus material, surprisingly, we're not really getting much in terms of art. In truth, you're really just getting this promotional placard for the comic book stores, and then just this combo art, once again, Bill Sienkiewicz, Dennis Cowan. Love it every time, so damn good. But what's surprising is that because Dennis O'Neil was the editor as well at the time, you're getting a lot of editorials here, which I appreciate, and also, answers from fans. And what I appreciate about this is that it's it's people writing in about, from the 80s. It's very impressive. So it's like a little window into time. And another thing I appreciate is that they don't just give you the flowery language. They also give you, fans who have legitimate criticisms. And I like how Denny, he kind of keeps a grain of salt with everything. Definitely appreciate that. But just the amount of it is impressive. It's almost worth an interview in its own right. Now, in terms of art and plot points. Now, the series, it takes place in Hub City. It's kind of a mashup of Flint, Michigan, and Detroit. So it's like a city where it's even more crime-ridden than Gotham, but on top of that, it has a huge economical crisis going on, too. So Vic Sage, he's a news anchor. That's at least his on-screen name. Although he has another name, Vic Sage, even that has its own real origin. Even that's not his real name, let's just put it that way. He has his own version of Alfred in the form of Aristotle Rodor, or Tot, that's what he calls him. And there's also his love interest, Mira Furman, this very angsty, very of the times woman where, she has to do what she has to do to survive. And she's stuck in like a loveless marriage for the sake of it. There's a lot of mechanics going on with it, but it's always interesting. Now, the series kind of picks up where, after like a failed rescue attempt, there's Shiva. She just happens to be a part of the gang opposed to him, and she completely decimates him. But for some reason, she has this like weird sign from him, this weird feeling that it's not his time. There's something more to him. So she kind of saves him, brings him to her former master, Richard Dragon, and yeah, he gets trained up to be one of the best fighters in all of DC, basically. Not bad. She just took a shining to him. It's not fully explained why. She just says it's a feeling. It's this sense of duty. It's a unique angle. But nonetheless, you're just given this ultra mature story where, if you're a fan of Daredevil, the question is very similar where he rationalizes a lot before he acts. Because he doesn't like just taking down street hoods. He does it because he has to. But in reality, he's more about tackling the head of the snake. He's more about breaking down these bureaucratic systems that basically cause more harm than just your regular street hood. But ironically, I highlight this page because I actually had this as my wallpaper for so many years on my computer. Here, let me just open up this book a little bit better. There we go. And in that light, you're getting a little taste of the awesome kinetics in this story. Like, man, Dennis Cowan, you really know how to do it, man. Like, I could see the motions. It's perfect. But that's just a little taste of what's to come there. And I'm just highlighting this issue because this was the Eisner-nominated issue where this really focuses on the human condition. And not just one form of mania, but a lot of different forms of abuse, like elder abuse, prostitution, a little bit of slavery, unfortunately. Of course, domestic abuse. What's it called? A lot of just, in general, societal issues and even bureaucratic breakdowns. It's a very unique story, and even themes of suicide. Like, one thing I appreciate about this story is, as I kind of mentioned before, it's not that he saves the day, it's that sometimes, no matter what you do, bad things will happen. Like, for instance, in the case of suicide, the dude changes his mind at the last second too late. Let's just put it that way. So, very on point, very visceral, let's just put it that way. A lot of real world action here. Probably one of my favorite kinetic shots, period, is, you know what, I love this line here where he hesitates. He wants to hear what the man in the chair will say, but he can't help himself. Breaks through the window, and man, you're just seeing nothing but just complete savagery here. But it all makes sense. Like, there's specific mechanics to the combat. I love that. And at the end of the day, the shock is wearing off. Now comes the pain. I absolutely love the word choice in this. Like, the lexicon that Dennis O'Neil chose is bar none. But you're getting a lot of, diverse stories here. So eventually he'll head over to Santa Prisca, and he'll help out with a revolution to save his buddy Tot, I guess is Alfred, so to speak. And in that light, you're kind of introduced to this idea of like Hector Gomez, a guy who, as you can kind of see here, is aspiring to be almost like a Dr. Manhattan. If you watch that Suicide Squad film, a lot of that character in that movie reminds me of this Hector Gomez guy. So, very on point there. Oh yeah, Poisoning Grounds. I always felt that this character was like the beginning of Billy Kincaid from Spawn. Very unique, let's just put it that way. Just a straight up killer. He likes ice cream, just opens the door. That's it, folks. A lot of the story is very mature, though. Like, I'm not going to recommend this for kids at all, because there is some pretty strong language, some, very graphic imagery, let's put it that way, and even points of just straight up racism. Like, there's this one character, Loomis McCarthy. This guy just, you'll instantly not like him, let's just put it that way. At least he gets checked right away. But one of my favorite characters is this character of redemption here, Izzy O'Toole, a corrupt cop who is legitimately now trying to do the right thing. And one of my favorite lines of dialogue ever, this is one of his former fellow crooked cops, but he's moved on, and he's like, "You used to be like one of us." Yeah, then I passed my IQ test. Man, I love Dennis O'Neil sometimes when the way he writes. So damn good. And the structuring of the story is just so damn good overall. Oh man. Maybe just as a last little teaser before we wrap up today. Yes, this little shot here of Shiva, another great little piece of dialogue. She hands the gun back to this guy who messed with her earlier. Hands it back to him so he can take a shot at her, only for her to do what she does, right? And I just love this line. Did you leave anyone alive? No one important. I just love that so much. Very on point, man. Like, it does take the reader not for granted. It really does enhance the idea that subtext will tell this story. So I love how Dennis O'Neil doesn't treat, fans as fools too much. I definitely appreciate that. And I like how the story doesn't really force you to suspend your beliefs that often. Like, it's grounded in reality. It's very believable. Well, it achieves verisimilitude. Let's just say that. But all in all, it's hard for me to recommend this considering I already said I love the character, right? But there's a reason why I always talk about it. This is an 11 out of 10. Like, not even a 10 out of 10. It's perfection. And if you're a fan of this story, Jeff Lemire did an excellent job with the follow-up, and even Des Cowan came back. This was done shortly after Dennis O'Neil passed away. But very on point overall. But I wouldn't mind hearing your thoughts and opinions just the same. And hopefully, I'll see you guys in the next video as well. Y'all folks take care.